The white walls of the medical chamber reflected light so bright that Hana had to close her eyes. She sat perfectly still on the examination table, hands folded in her lap, trying not to think about what was happening. The machine above her head hummed softly as it scanned her brain. She knew this sound well. Every 3 months she came here for the same test. Every 3 months the doctors checked to make sure her genetic modifications were working correctly. But today felt different. The technician watching the screens had stopped moving. His face showed no emotion, but that was normal. Everyone in the Citadel had been enhanced. Their brains were modified to feel less, think more. They called it progress. They called it evolution. Hana had always wondered what it would be like to think without feeling so much. Now she might find out. The machine stopped humming. The technician touched several buttons on his screen, then looked at her. His eyes were cold, calculating. "There is an anomaly in your neural patterns," he said. His voice was flat, without concern or curiosity. "Your limbic system shows excessive activity. This is not within acceptable parameters." Hana felt her heart beat faster. That was the problem, she realized. Her heart. It beat too fast when she was scared. It felt heavy when she was sad. It jumped when she was happy. The enhanced humans did not have these problems. Their hearts beat at steady, efficient rates. "What does that mean?" she asked, though she already knew. "You have been flagged for review by the Genetic Council. They will determine if recalibration is necessary." The technician handed her a small device. "Report to Council Chamber 7 tomorrow at 0900 hours. Recalibration." The word made her stomach twist. She had heard about it before. When someone's modifications failed, when their brain did not work the way it should, they were recalibrated. The doctors would open their skull, adjust the neural pathways, fix whatever was broken. When they woke up, they were different. "Better," the council said. "Fixed." But Hana did not feel broken. She left the medical chamber and walked through the bright corridors of the Citadel. Everything here was perfect. The floors were clean. The air was the right temperature. People moved with purpose, never rushing, never hesitating. They worked in offices with glass walls. They ate food that was perfectly balanced for nutrition. They slept exactly 7 hours each night. Hana hated it. No, that was wrong. She was not supposed to hate anything. Enhanced humans did not hate. They assessed. They concluded. They acted based on logic. But Hana felt things. She always had. When she was young, she thought everyone did. She would talk about feeling happy or sad or excited, and the other children would look at her strangely. The teachers would make notes. Her file grew thicker with observations. Excessive emotional response. Uncontrolled neural activity. Possible modification failure. They had been watching her for years, she realized, waiting to see if she would stabilize. She had tried so hard to hide it, to pretend she was like everyone else. But during the scan, when they showed her images of wounded soldiers, she had felt something break inside her. She had wanted to help them. She had felt their pain as if it were her own. The machine had recorded it all. That night, Hana could not sleep. She lay in her small quarters and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, the council would decide her fate. She knew what they would say. She was defective. She needed to be fixed. And after they fixed her, she would be like everyone else. Calm, logical, empty. She did not want to be empty. Morning came too quickly. Hana dressed in the simple gray uniform that all civilians wore and made her way to Council Chamber 7. 2 guards stood outside the door. They were military. She could tell by the cybernetic implants on their arms and the cold efficiency in their movements. One of them checked her identification. "The council is ready for you," he said. Inside, 5 people sat behind a curved desk. Director Mirai was in the center, her silver hair pulled back tightly, her eyes sharp. The others looked similar, all enhanced, all powerful. They studied Hana like she was a broken machine. "Hana," Director Mirai began, "we have reviewed your neural scans. The data is concerning. Your emotional responses are significantly above normal parameters. This suggests that your genetic modifications have failed to properly integrate. Do you understand what this means?" "Yes," Hana said quietly. "The procedure will be scheduled for next week. You will be taken to the recalibration center, where our best surgeons will correct the anomaly. The success rate is 97%. You have nothing to fear." But Hana was afraid, terribly afraid. And that fear proved everything they said about her was true. What if I refuse? The words came out before she could stop them. The council members looked at each other. Director Mirai leaned forward. Refusal is not an option. Uncorrected emotional instability poses a risk to society. You will be escorted to the center under military guard. Commander Taeyang will handle the transfer personally. Hana left the chamber feeling numb. Military guard. They were treating her like a criminal. Like she was dangerous. All because she could feel things. Commander Taeyang arrived at her quarters the next day. He was tall, built like a weapon with cybernetic enhancements visible on his left arm. His face showed nothing. He looked at her the way someone might look at cargo that needed to be moved from one place to another. I am Commander Taeyang. I will escort you to the transport ship. Gather your belongings. Hana had almost nothing. A few changes of clothes, a small data pad with her work files. She picked them up and followed him to the docking bay. The ship was small, designed for short trips. She sat in the passenger section while Taeyang took his place near the pilot. 2 other soldiers were with them. The ship lifted off smoothly. Hana watched through the window as the citadel grew smaller below them. Soon they would reach the recalibration center. Soon she would be different. She tried to remember what it felt like to be happy, to be sad, to be alive with feeling. She wanted to hold on to it for as long as she could. Then the alarm started screaming. Incoming fire, the pilot shouted. Raiders, 3 ships. The ship lurched violently. Hana was thrown against her restraints. Through the window she saw smaller ships firing weapons at them. The transport was not built for combat. They were helpless. Evasive maneuvers, Taeyang ordered. His voice was calm even now. Return fire when possible. One of the soldiers moved to the weapons console. Another explosion rocked the ship. Sparks flew from the control panels. The soldier at weapons slumped forward, blood spreading across his uniform. Hana unbuckled her restraints and ran to him. She did not think about it. She just moved. She pressed her hands against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. The soldier's eyes were open but unfocused. He was dying. Help me, she shouted at the others. We have to stop the bleeding. The pilot did not turn around. The other soldier glanced at them briefly, then returned to his post. They had calculated that saving one man was not worth risking the mission. It was logical, but Hana was not logical. She tore a piece of her uniform and tied it tight around the wound. She talked to the soldier, told him to stay awake, told him he would be okay. She did not know if it was true. She just knew she could not let him die alone. Commander Taeyang came to her side. She thought he would pull her away, tell her to return to her seat. Instead, he knelt down and helped her. Together, they kept pressure on the wound until the ship escaped the raiders and reached an emergency station. Medical teams rushed on board. They took the soldier away. Hana's hands were covered in blood. She was shaking. Taeyang stood in front of her. For the first time, she saw something in his eyes. Not curiosity exactly. Something else. Something almost like confusion. Why did you do that? He asked. Hana looked at her bloody hands. I could not let him die alone. I could not just watch, but it was not logical. Your actions did not increase our chances of survival. They potentially put you at risk. I know, Hana said. But I had to try. I had to care. Taeyang stared at her for a long moment. Then he said something that surprised her. The transport is damaged. Repairs will take 2 days. I will delay your transfer until the ship is ready. It was not much. Just 2 more days. But Hana understood what he was really saying. He was giving her time. She did not know why. She only knew that this enhanced soldier, this man who was supposed to be beyond emotion, had just shown her something that might have been kindness, and that changed everything. The emergency station was small and temporary, built for situations exactly like this. While mechanics worked on the damaged transport ship, Hana was given a small room with a narrow bed and a single window that looked out into space. She sat on the bed and tried not to think about what would happen when the repairs were finished. 2 more days. That was all she had. Commander Taeyang had questions. She could see it in his face during the attack, in the way he had watched her try to save the wounded soldier. He did not understand why she had done it. Hana was not sure she could explain it to someone who had never felt what she felt. How could you describe color to someone who had only seen gray? There was a knock on her door. She opened it to find Taeyang standing there, his expression as neutral as always, but something was different. He seemed uncertain, like he was doing something he had not planned. I need to ask you some questions, he said. For my report to the council. Hana nodded and let him in. He sat in the only chair. She sat on the edge of the bed. For a moment, neither of them spoke. During the attack, Taeyang began. You took action to save a wounded soldier. Your action was not strategic. It did not improve our tactical position. Yet you did it without hesitation. Why? Hana chose her words carefully. Because he was dying. Because I could not stand there and do nothing while someone needed help. But you must understand that in combat situations, difficult choices must be made. Resources are limited. Time is limited. Sometimes one person must be sacrificed so that others can survive. I understand the logic, Hana said, but understanding something and being able to act on it are different things. When I saw him bleeding, I did not think about resources or strategy. I just thought about him, about his life, about how much it must hurt. I could not let him die alone and afraid. Taeyang was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, what does it feel like? This caring you describe. The question surprised her. Hana had never been asked to explain her emotions before. Usually people just told her they were wrong, that she needed to be fixed. She took a breath and tried to find the words. It is like having weight in your chest, she said slowly. Not a bad weight exactly, but a heavy one. When I see someone in pain, I feel that weight pull at me. It makes me want to do something, anything, to make the pain stop. Even if it is not logical. Even if it puts me at risk. That sounds inefficient, Taeyang said. But he did not say it harshly. He said it like he was trying to understand. It is, Hana admitted. But it is also what makes me feel alive. When I care about something, when I help someone, there is another feeling. A lightness. Like the weight lifts for a moment and I can breathe easier. The enhanced call it inefficient. But to me, it is the most important thing I can do. Taeyang stood up and walked to the window. He stared out at the stars for a long time. Hana thought he might leave, but instead he spoke again. I have emotion suppressors, he said. We all do. They were installed when I was 10 years old. Before that, I remember feeling things. Fear during my first combat simulation. Pride when I completed my training. But after the suppressors were activated, those feelings stopped. I perform better now. My decisions are faster, cleaner. I do not hesitate. Do you remember what it was like? Hana asked. Before the suppressors? Barely, Taeyang said. Sometimes I think I remember my mother singing to me, but I cannot be sure if it is a real memory or something my brain created. Without emotions, memories fade. They become data instead of experiences. That sounds lonely, Hana said softly. Taeyang turned to look at her. Loneliness is an emotion. I should not be capable of feeling it, but you do, Hana said. Do you not? Even a little? He did not answer, but the silence was answer enough. Over the next 2 days, Taeyang came back to ask more questions. Each time he stayed longer. They talked about things that had nothing to do with his report. Hana told him about the first time she heard music and how it had made her cry. She explained how colors seemed brighter when she was happy, darker when she was sad. She described what it was like to laugh until her stomach hurt, or to feel so angry that her hands shook. Taeyang listened to all of it. Sometimes he asked questions. Sometimes he just sat there thinking. Hana could tell that her words were affecting him, though she did not know how. On the second day, Taeyang brought something with him. A small data chip. I found this in the station's archives, he said. It is music from Earth, from before the enhancement era. I thought you might want to hear it. Hana took the chip carefully like it was something precious. She plugged it into the small player in her room. The sound that came out was unlike anything she had heard before. It was a piano, she thought, playing notes that felt like they came from somewhere deep and ancient. The melody was sad and beautiful at the same time. Tears filled her eyes. She did not try to stop them. The music spoke to something inside her that had no words. It was like the pianist understood everything she felt, all the loneliness and fear and hope, and had put it into sound. When the music ended, Hana realized Taeyang was staring at her. Not with disgust or concern, with something that looked almost like wonder. You are crying, he said. Yes, Hana said. She wiped her eyes, but more tears came. The music was so beautiful. It made me feel everything at once, joy and sadness and longing. I cannot explain it. Taeyang sat down beside her. He reached out slowly and touched one of her tears with his finger like he was studying it. This is water, he said. Just salt and water, but you produce it when you feel strongly. Why, I do not know, Hana admitted. Maybe because some feelings are too big to keep inside. They have to come out somehow. He was still touching her face, his finger against her cheek. Then something happened that neither of them expected. His hand started shaking, just slightly but enough to notice. Taeyang pulled his hand back quickly and stood up. I need to leave, he said. His voice was not calm anymore. There was something in it that had not been there before. Something that almost sounded like panic. What is wrong? Hana asked. My suppressors, Taeyang said. They are registering unusual neural activity. I think I am feeling something. I do not know what it is, he left quickly. Hana sat alone in her room, the music still playing softly. She touched her own cheek where his finger had been and wondered what was happening to the commander. That night, Hana could not sleep. She kept thinking about Taeyang's shaking hand, about the fear in his voice. The enhanced were not supposed to feel fear. Something was changing in him, because of her. The next morning, there was another knock on her door. But this time it was not Taeyang. It was a woman in a medical uniform. She had kind eyes, which was unusual for an enhanced person. My name is Dr. Bora, the woman said. May I come in? Hana let her in, confused. Dr. Bora closed the door carefully and checked the room before speaking. I do not have much time, Bora said quietly. I need you to know something. Your emotions are not a defect. They are exactly what I designed you to have. Hana stared at her. You designed me? You are one of the Genesis lab doctors? I'm the doctor who created you, Bora said, and I did not fail. I succeeded. You are what humanity is supposed to be, Hana. You are what we lost. I do not understand, Hana said. Why would you create someone defective on purpose? Because we are dying, Bora said. Not physically, but as a people. When we removed emotions, we thought we were removing weakness. But we removed everything that made us human. We stopped creating art. We stopped dreaming. We stopped loving. We became efficient machines that happened to be made of flesh. She pulled out a data pad and showed Hana files. Charts and graphs that meant nothing to Hana but clearly meant everything to Bora. For 300 years we have not produced a single new piece of music, Bora continued. Not one painting that was not purely functional. No poetry, no stories. We solve problems, yes. We build things. But we do not create beauty anymore. We do not wonder about the stars. We just calculate how to use them. So you made me to prove that emotions are valuable? Hana asked. I made you to prove that emotions are necessary, Bora corrected. The council will not listen to arguments. They only listen to data, and you are the data, Hana. You think differently than enhanced humans. You solve problems in ways we cannot. Your emotions give you insight that pure logic never could. But they are going to erase all of that, Hana said. They are going to fix me. Bora's face went hard. They are going to do worse than that. Once they recalibrate you, they will study your brain. They will dissect every neural pathway to understand what went wrong. They will make sure no one like you is ever created again. You are a threat to their perfect world. Fear flooded through Hana. What can I do? I came here to tell you that I am sorry, Bora said. I created you knowing they might destroy you. That was selfish of me, but I also came to tell you that you are not alone. There are others like you, humans who escaped the enhancement process. Humans who still feel. They live in hiding, in the lower levels of the Citadel. If you can reach them, you might be safe. How am I supposed to reach them? Hana asked. I am under guard. Bora smiled sadly. Your guard is changing. Commander Taeyang has been spending time with you. His suppressors are showing signs of malfunction. He is starting to feel again. If anyone can help you escape, it is him. Before Hana could ask more questions, Bora left. Hana sat on her bed, mind racing. Taeyang was feeling again. She had seen the evidence herself. But would he help her escape? He was a soldier. He followed orders, unless his orders conflicted with what he was starting to feel. Hours later, Taeyang came to her room again. But this time he looked different. His jaw was tight. His eyes were focused but troubled. He closed the door and stood there for a moment as if trying to decide something. I have been accessing restricted archives, he said. Information about pre-enhancement humanity. Do you know what I found? Hana shook her head. Everything beautiful we ever created came from emotion, he said. Every exploration, every discovery, every work of art. Humans did not conquer space because it was logical. They did it because they were curious, because they dreamed, because they dared to hope for more. He walked closer to her. I have been deactivating my suppressors, he said quietly, little by little. And I'm feeling things I have not felt in 20 years. Fear, confusion, and something else when I look at you. Something I do not have a name for. Hana's heart was beating so fast she thought he might hear it. What are you saying? I am saying that you are not defective, Taeyang said. You are what we were supposed to be. And I will not let them destroy that. Just then, an alert sounded on Taeyang's communication device. He checked it, and his expression went cold. Lieutenant Jian is coming, he said. Director Mirai sent him to retrieve you immediately. She suspects I have been delaying the transfer. What do we do? Hana asked. Taeyang looked at her for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change both their lives forever. We run. Taeyang moved fast. He grabbed Hana's arm and pulled her into the corridor. The emergency station was small, with only a few hallways and maintenance areas. They had maybe 5 minutes before Jian's ship docked. Where are we going? Hana asked, running to keep up with him. The maintenance tunnels, Taeyang said. They connect to the lower docking levels. There is a small ship there, used for repairs. We can take it. You are stealing a ship? Hana could not believe what was happening. You are a commander. This is treason. I know, Taeyang said. He did not sound afraid. He sounded determined. Keep moving. They reached a maintenance hatch. Taeyang pulled it open and they climbed down a ladder into the tunnels below. The air here was colder, filled with the hum of machinery. Pipes lined the walls, carrying fuel and oxygen throughout the station. Behind them, Hana heard the sound of boots on metal. Voices. Jian had arrived. Search the station, a voice commanded. Find them both. They ran through the tunnels. Taeyang seemed to know where he was going, turning left and right without hesitation. Finally, they reached another ladder leading up. At the top was a small airlock, and beyond it, a repair ship. Get in, Taeyang said. Strap yourself in tight. This is going to be rough. Hana climbed into the passenger seat while Taeyang took the controls. His fingers moved quickly over the panels, starting the engines. The ship shuddered to life. Commander Taeyang, a voice crackled over the communication system. This is Lieutenant Jian. Stand down immediately. Return the prisoner. You are making a terrible mistake. Taeyang's hand hovered over the communication button. For a moment, Hana thought he might answer. But then he shut off the system entirely and launched the ship. They burst out of the station at full speed. Alarms screamed around them. Hana saw Jian's military ship giving chase, much larger and faster than their small repair vessel. They are going to catch us, Hana said. Not if we get to the Citadel first, Taeyang said. He pushed the ship harder, engines screaming. If we can reach the lower levels, we can disappear. The lower levels? Hana remembered what Dr. Bora had said. The underground. Behind them, weapons fire lit up the darkness. Qian was shooting at them. Hold on, Taeyang shouted. He threw the ship into a spin, dodging the blasts. The Citadel grew larger ahead of them, a massive structure glowing with lights. But Taeyang was not heading for the main docks. He was diving down toward the darker sections at the bottom. The lower levels of the Citadel were like a different world. These were the old sections, built when the station was first constructed centuries ago. No one came here anymore. The enhanced humans lived in the bright upper levels. Down here, there was only darkness and forgotten spaces. Taeyang guided the ship through narrow passages between old structures. Jian's larger ship could not follow as easily. They were gaining distance. Finally, Taeyang landed the ship on an abandoned platform. They climbed out quickly. The air here was stale but breathable. Emergency lights flickered, casting strange shadows. This way, Taeyang said. If there really is an underground, they will be deeper inside. They moved through corridors that had not seen people in years. Everything was covered in dust. Old equipment sat abandoned. It was like walking through a graveyard. How do you know about this place? Hana asked. Military intelligence knows about the underground, Taeyang said. We were told they are criminals and degenerates. People who refused enhancement and became dangerous. But now I wonder if that was a lie. They turned a corner and stopped. Ahead of them stood 3 people, 2 men and a woman. They wore simple clothes, not the uniforms of the upper levels, and their eyes were different. They showed emotion, suspicion, wariness, but also curiosity. You are enhanced, one of the men said, looking at Taeyang's cybernetic arm. Why would an enhanced soldier come here? I am helping her escape, Taeyang said, nodding toward Hana. She is like you. She feels. The 3 looked at each other. The woman stepped forward and studied Hana carefully. Then she smiled. It was a real smile, warm and genuine. "You are the one Dr. Bora created," she said. "We have been hoping you would come. My name is Soman. Welcome to the underground." They followed Soman and the others deeper into the old sections. Eventually, they came to a large chamber that had been transformed. Lights had been strung up. People lived here. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. They had created homes out of old storage areas. Children played in the corridors. Someone was cooking food that actually smelled good, not like the nutritional paste served in the upper levels. Hana stared in wonder. She had never seen so many emotional people in one place. They laughed. They argued. They hugged each other. It was chaotic and messy and beautiful. "This is what humanity looks like," Soman said, "when we are free to be ourselves." Taeyang looked around, his expression unreadable. Hana could tell he was processing everything he saw, comparing it to what he had been taught about the underground. Nothing here looked dangerous. These people were not criminals. They were just human. "We need to keep moving," one of the men said. "The council will send soldiers to find you. The underground is safe, but it is not invisible." Soman led them to a quieter area, a small room with cushions on the floor and artwork on the walls. Real artwork painted by hand. Hana touched one of the paintings gently. It showed a sunset, all oranges and purples. "We keep the old ways alive down here," Soman said. "Music, art, stories, everything the enhanced world has forgotten." "Why did you leave?" Hana asked. "Why did you refuse enhancement?" "Some of us never had the choice," Soman said. "We were born here, to parents who had escaped. Others came later, like you are now. They ran because they realized that being perfect meant being empty." She looked at Taeyang. "And some, like your friend here, are enhanced but choose to feel anyway. You have been turning off your suppressors, have you not?" Taeyang nodded slowly. "It started a few days ago. I did not plan it, but being around her," he gestured to Hana, "made me curious. I wanted to understand what she felt. So I began reducing the suppressor output." "And what do you feel now?" Soman asked. Taeyang was quiet for a moment. "Everything," he said finally. "Fear that I have made the wrong choice. Anger at the council for lying to us. And when I look at Hana, something else. Something stronger than any logic. I think it might be care, or maybe more than that." Hana felt her heart skip. He was talking about her. About caring for her. "That is called love," Soman said gently. "Or at least the beginning of it." "Love," Taeyang repeated the word like it was foreign. "The enhanced do not love. We pair based on genetic compatibility. But you are not fully enhanced anymore," Soman said. "You are becoming human again. And humans love." That night, the underground gave them a place to rest. Hana lay on a simple bed in a small room and tried to process everything that had happened. In just a few days, her entire life had changed. She had gone from being a defective person awaiting correction to a fugitive hiding in the depths of the citadel, and Taeyang. The commander who was supposed to deliver her to her death was now risking everything to protect her. Because he was starting to feel. Because of her. There was a soft knock on her door. Taeyang stood there looking uncertain. "Can I come in?" he asked. Hana nodded. He sat on the floor across from her bed. "I have been thinking," he said. "About what Soman said. About love. I do not fully understand it yet. But I know that the thought of losing you makes my chest hurt. The thought of them erasing who you are makes me want to fight everyone in the citadel. Is that love?" Hana felt tears in her eyes. "I think it might be." "Then I need to tell you something," Taeyang said. "I did not help you escape just because I thought it was wrong what they planned to do. I helped you because I could not imagine a world without you in it. You showed me what it means to be alive, and now I cannot go back to the way I was." Hana moved to sit beside him on the floor. She took his hand. His cybernetic hand was cold metal, but his other hand was warm, human. She held them both. "I do not know what happens next," she said. "But I am glad you are here with me. So am I," Taeyang said. They sat together in the quiet, hands intertwined. Outside, the underground continued its secret existence. Above them, the council was surely searching. The danger was not over. In fact, it was just beginning. But for this moment, Hana felt something she had never felt before. She felt safe. She felt understood. And she felt loved. The next morning, Soman gathered everyone together. She stood on a platform so all could see her. "The council has broadcast a message across the entire alliance," she said. Director Mirai has declared Hana a threat to genetic purity. She has declared Taeyang a traitor. They are offering rewards for information leading to your capture. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Hana felt sick. She had brought danger to these people who had given her shelter. But Soman held up her hand for quiet. This is also an opportunity, she said. For 300 years we have hidden. We have survived in the shadows. But maybe it is time to step into the light. Hana, you are proof that emotions are not weakness. You are proof that humanity needs its heart. What are you saying? Hana asked. Soman smiled. I am saying that maybe we do not run anymore. Maybe we stand and fight. Not with weapons. With truth. We show the Alliance what they have lost. We show them what you are. What we all are. The crowd began to murmur in agreement. Hana looked at Taeyang. He nodded slowly. If we do this, he said, the council will respond. They will send soldiers. Lieutenant Jian will come, then we will be ready, Soman said. Not to kill, but to show them another way. Hana stood up. She felt afraid, but she also felt something else, hope. Maybe the doctor had been right. Maybe she was not a mistake. Maybe she was exactly what humanity needed. I will do it, she said. I will stand against the council. I will show them what it means to feel. The underground cheered. Taeyang took her hand and squeezed it. Whatever happens, I am with you, he said. Hana looked at the faces around her. People who had never stopped being human. People who had never forgotten how to love and hope and dream. She was one of them now. And together, they were going to change everything. Taeyang did something that no one expected. He sent a message directly to the Genetic Council. Not a plea for mercy, not a surrender, a challenge. He requested a formal hearing before the council with one condition. It had to be broadcast live across the entire Alliance. Every station, every ship, every home. Billions of people would watch. Director Mirai could not refuse. If she did, it would look like she was afraid. So she agreed. The hearing would take place in 3 days. The underground prepared. Dr. Bora arrived with data files and research. Salman organized the people, teaching them what to expect. And Hana practiced what she would say, though every time she tried, her voice shook. I am afraid, she told Taeyang the night before the hearing. What if I cannot make them understand? What if they just see me as broken? Taeyang took her hands in his. Then show them what broken looks like, he said. Show them your fear, your hope, your love. Show them everything they have lost. If they still think you are defective after that, then they are the ones who are broken. The day of the hearing came. Taeyang and Hana traveled under guard to the council chamber in the upper levels. The guards were enhanced soldiers, their faces blank. But Hana noticed one of them glance at her with something that might have been curiosity. The chamber was massive, designed to hold thousands. But today it held only the council, the guards, and those few from the underground who had been allowed to attend. Cameras lined the walls. The entire Alliance was watching. Director Mirai sat in the center, elevated above everyone else. Her silver hair gleamed under the lights. Her eyes were cold and calculating as they fixed on Hana. This hearing has been requested by former Commander Taeyang, Mirai said. Her voice echoed through the chamber. He claims that the subject known as Hana is not defective, but rather represents something valuable. We will examine this claim. She gestured to a large screen behind her. Images appeared. Brain scans of Hana, showing bright areas of activity in regions that were supposed to be quiet. Charts comparing her responses to those of normal, enhanced humans. The evidence is clear, Mirai said. This individual has excessive emotional capacity. Her limbic system operates at levels 300% above normal. She experiences fear, anger, sadness, and other primitive responses that we have evolved beyond. More images appeared. Enhanced humans working efficiently in laboratories, ships being built, problems being solved. Everything running smoothly. Since we removed emotional interference 300 years ago, Mirai continued, humanity has achieved unprecedented progress. We have eliminated war. We have optimized resource distribution. We have expanded across the galaxy, all because we chose logic over emotion. She turned to look directly at Hana. And now former Commander Taeyang suggests we should celebrate a failed genetic modification, that we should embrace inefficiency and instability. I asked the Alliance to consider what that would mean. The chamber was silent. Then Taeyang stood. Director Mirai shows you charts and numbers, he said. His voice was strong, carrying through the chamber. But she does not show you what we have lost. Dr. Bora, please display the cultural analysis. Dr. Bora stepped forward and activated her own display. Different images appeared. Old paintings from Earth, music recordings from before the enhancement era, poetry, stories, things of beauty created by humans who could feel. 300 years ago, humanity created constantly, Taeyang said. We wrote music that moved people to tears. We painted images that captured the soul. We told stories that inspired generations. But in the past 300 years since emotion was removed, we have created nothing. We build, we calculate. But we do not create. Efficiency is not the same as progress, Taeyang continued. We have become excellent at surviving, but we have forgotten how to live. Director Miri leaned forward. Art and music are not necessary for survival. They are luxuries we can afford to lose, can we? Taeyang asked. Then answer me this. When was the last time someone in the Alliance did something simply because they wanted to? Not because it was efficient or logical, but because it brought them joy? Silence. No one could answer. When was the last time someone explored a new world out of curiosity rather than calculation? When was the last time someone made a discovery because they dreamed, not because they were programmed to solve a problem? More silence. We are stagnating, Taeyang said. We have built the perfect machine, but we are no longer human. This is meaningless philosophy, Mirai snapped. Emotions do not contribute to society. They create conflict and inefficiency. Then let Hana speak, Taeyang said. Let her show you what emotions can do. Let her show the Alliance what they have lost. All eyes turned to Hana. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. But she stood up and walked to the center of the chamber. Billions of people were watching her right now, waiting to see if she was defective or something more. I am afraid right now, Hana began. Her voice was quiet, but it carried. I am terrified. My hands are shaking. My throat is tight. Every logical part of me says I should be silent, that I should accept what you decide. But I cannot, she took a breath. That fear you see as weakness, it is also what makes me brave. Because I am choosing to speak despite being afraid. That is not logic. That is courage. And courage is an emotion. The chamber was completely silent now. Everyone was listening. When you look at stars, Hana continued, what do you see? You see fusion reactions and gravitational forces. You see resources to exploit. But when I look at stars, I see beauty. I wonder what it would be like to touch one. I dream about what we might find out there. Not because it is logical, because I am curious, because I hope. She looked directly at Director Mirai. You say emotions make us weak. But what made humanity leave Earth in the first place? What made us brave the unknown? It was not efficiency. It was wonder. It was the hope that something better existed beyond what we knew. Her voice grew stronger. You say I am defective because during my scan I felt pain watching wounded soldiers. But that pain made me want to help. That pain made me develop better strategies to reduce casualties. My emotions did not make me worse at my job. They made me better. Because I cared about the outcome beyond just the numbers. She turned to face the cameras to speak to everyone watching. I am not asking you to choose chaos over order. I am asking you to remember that being human means more than being efficient. It means caring about each other. It means creating beauty. It means loving something so much that you would risk everything for it. Tears filled her eyes. She let them fall. And yes, I cry. I feel sadness and joy and fear and love. I am messy and inefficient and emotional. But I am alive. I am truly completely alive. Can you say the same? The silence that followed was profound. Then something unexpected happened. One of the enhanced guards removed his helmet. Then another. And another. They were crying too. Not all of them, but enough. Lieutenant Jian entered the chamber. He walked straight to the center and stood beside Hana. I was sent to capture Commander Taeyang, Jian said. His voice was different now. Nirai stood up, her face pale. This is a violation of protocol. You are all compromised. Used the flat tone of an enhanced soldier, something warmer. But when I watched him help this woman, when I saw him choose to protect her, I felt something I had not felt in 20 years. He looked at the council. I felt respect. I felt curiosity. And I made a choice. I deactivated my emotion suppressors. All of them. Because I wanted to know what it felt like to care about something more than my orders. More soldiers stepped forward. Dozens of them, all removing their helmets, all showing emotion. Director Mu will report for recalibration immediately. But her voice lacked its usual authority. Because beyond the chamber something was happening. Across the Alliance people were watching, and they were feeling, some for the first time in their lives. Taeyang stepped forward to stand beside Hana. He took her hand in front of everyone. Director Mirai, he said, you asked what emotions contribute to society. I will tell you. They contribute everything that makes life worth living. The courage to explore, the compassion to help each other, the love that binds us together. We have been surviving for 300 years. It is time we started living again. Mirai looked around the chamber, at the soldiers who had defied her, at the council members who were starting to look uncertain, at the cameras recording everything. She sat down slowly. This hearing is adjourned, she said. But her voice was quiet. Defeated, the chamber erupted. People were talking, shouting, some celebrating. The guards made no move to arrest anyone. They were too busy processing their own feelings, trying to understand what was happening to them. Hana turned to Taeyang. Did we just win? Taeyang shook his head. Not yet. This was just the beginning. But we showed them the truth. Now it is up to them to decide what they do with it. That night, something spread across the Alliance like wildfire. People began deactivating their emotion suppressors. Not all of them, but thousands, then tens of thousands, then millions. They wanted to know what they had been missing. They wanted to feel. Some of the council members tried to stop it. They called it a plague, a mass delusion. They ordered recalibrations and sent security forces to enforce compliance. But the security forces were feeling now too. They refused orders. They walked away from their posts. They went home to their families and felt love for the first time. The Alliance was fracturing. Some worlds declared that emotions would be optional. Others doubled down on enhancement and logic. Director Mirai gathered those still loyal to her and made a declaration of her own. She would not allow the Alliance to fall to emotional chaos. She would restore order. By force if necessary, war was coming. Not over territory or resources. Over the very nature of what it meant to be human. Hana stood with Taeyang on a balcony overlooking the underground. More people had come. The population had tripled in just days. All of them seeking refuge. All of them wanting to feel without fear. Are you afraid? Taeyang asked her. Yes, Hana said. But I am also hopeful. We changed something today. We showed them another way. Taeyang put his arm around her. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Hana leaned against him, drawing strength from his presence. She had been called defective, but she had proven that her heart, her emotions, her capacity to feel and care and love were not weaknesses. They were the most human things about her, and now billions of people were learning the same lesson. The war for humanity's soul had begun, but unlike the wars of old, this one would not be won with weapons. It would be won with something far more powerful. It would be won with the very thing the Council feared most. The human. And to keep their suppressors can, but those who want to feel again should have that right. Humanity should not be forced to be one thing or another. She turned to the communication systems. Attention all Alliance forces, she said. This is Director Mirai. I am ordering an immediate stand down. Return to your home stations. The war is over. There was confusion at first, questions, demands for explanation. But Mirai was firm. She explained what had happened. She admitted she had been wrong. She announced that emotion suppressors would become optional across the entire Alliance. Some council members objected. Some worlds refused to comply. But most listened. Most were ready for change. The empathy protocol spread across the Alliance. Millions chose to feel again. It was not perfect. Some people could not handle the sudden flood of emotions. Others chose to keep their suppressors, preferring logic to feeling. There were conflicts and disagreements. The transition was messy and difficult, but it was also beautiful. People began creating again. Art and music appeared after 300 years of silence. Explorers ventured into unknown space driven by curiosity rather than orders. Scientists made breakthroughs because they dared to wonder. Humanity was messy and inefficient and emotional, and humanity was alive. 5 years later, Hana stood in a classroom. Not in the underground anymore. The underground had dissolved because it was no longer needed. People could live openly now, feeling whatever they wanted to feel. The classroom was filled with students. Some were enhanced, some were natural-born, Some were somewhere in between. All of them were learning about emotions, how to identify them, how to manage them, how to use them to make better decisions. Taeyang entered the room and joined her at the front. He took her hand. They had married 2 years ago, in a ceremony that would have been impossible in the old alliance. A ceremony filled with joy and tears and love. Today we are going to talk about fear, Hana told the class. Can anyone tell me what fear is? A young girl raised her hand. It is when you are scared of something bad happening. Yes, Hana said. But fear is also what makes us brave. When you do something even though you are scared, that is courage. And courage is one of the most important human qualities. Were you scared when you stood before the council? A boy asked. I was terrified, Hana admitted. But I spoke anyway, because some things are more important than being safe. Some things are worth fighting for. What things? The girl asked. Hana looked at Taeyang. He smiled at her. That smile still made her heart skip. After 5 years together, after everything they had been through, he could still make her feel like she was falling in love for the first time. Love is worth fighting for, Hana said. Hope is worth fighting for. The right to feel and dream and create. Those things are worth everything. After class, Hana and Taeyang walked through the streets of the citadel. It looked different now. More colorful. People had painted murals on the walls. Musicians played on corners. Children laughed as they ran past. Do you ever regret it? Taeyang asked. The way your life turned out? Hana shook her head. They called me defective, but I was never broken. I was just human. She stopped walking and turned to face him. And you called me perfect. You saw me when everyone else saw only a mistake. You fought for me when it would have been easier to walk away. How could I regret any of that? Taeyang cupped her face in his hands. Both hands now. He had removed the cybernetic one and replaced it with something more natural. He said he wanted to feel everything, even the simple sensation of holding her hand. You were always perfect, he said. I just had to learn how to see it. They kissed there in the street. People walked past them, some smiling, some lost in their own thoughts. No one stared. Affection was normal now. That night, Hana stood at a window looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, humans were exploring, driven by curiosity and wonder. Somewhere out there, new colonies were being founded by people who dreamed of better worlds. The galaxy would come to know humanity not as perfect beings, but as passionate ones, as creatures who felt deeply and loved fiercely, as people who would risk everything for what they believed in. Taeyang came to stand beside her. What are you thinking about? Hana leaned against him. I'm thinking about how far we have come, how much has changed. 5 years ago I was called defective. Today millions of people are learning to feel because of what we started. She turned to look at him. I am thinking that maybe being human is not about being perfect. Maybe it is about being real, about caring and hoping and dreaming, about loving so much that it changes everything. Taeyang wrapped his arms around her. That is exactly what it means to be human. They stood together looking at the stars. The future was uncertain. There would be challenges ahead. Not everyone had accepted the change. Some still believed emotions were weakness, but Hana was not afraid anymore. Or rather, she was afraid, but she was also hopeful. She had learned that both could exist together. That being human meant feeling everything, the good and the bad, the joy and the pain, and she had learned the most important lesson of all. That emotions were not defects to be fixed. They were gifts to be cherished. They were what made life worth living. They called her defective for having a human heart. But in the end, her heart had saved them all. It had shown humanity what they had lost, and it had given them the courage to become whole again. Taeyang had called her perfect, and in her imperfection, in her messy, emotional, beautifully human way, she was. They were both perfect, not because they were flawless, but because they were real, because they felt, because they loved, and that was the most human thing of all.